We'll go ahead and open the meeting. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business is going to be to approve the agenda. Additions, deletions, corrections. Does anyone have anything? I do. I have one small thing, but does anybody else? We do need to briefly discuss COVID-19 with the fall opening. I would like to add that. And other than that, and I apologize, I'm all wet here. Other than that, if I could have a motion to approve the modified agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the modified agenda.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so passes. I don't see anybody from the public. Okay, so we'll go ahead on to new business. The solar bid, item bid. Louis, you want to run with that?
Sure. So I'll just give you a brief. So for those of you who do or don't know, the solar system failed, the inverter failed and needed to be replaced. We had Same Sun come in and give us a quote. Same Sun is a local solar company. Their office is actually right across the street from ours, down by the central office. And they determined that the inverter needed to be replaced, as well as the fact that a lot of our wiring is outdated and out of code based on when the system was put in. They provided us two options. One was to get us to replace the inverter with a used inverter and not replace all the wiring, and that cost was approximately, I think it was $23,000, or to replace it with a new inverter, which would have a 15-year warranty, and replace all of the wiring up to date to current code specifications. Actually, it was a 20-year warranty, I'm sorry, on the inverter. Bring the array up to current electrical code with the addition of our module level rapid shutdown, update module and string configuration to meet current inverter electrical code, install a rapid shutdown unit at each module, and update electrical and wire connectors. So that cost was $57,000. We tried to get other quotes. We reached out to other vendors directly, and we also placed an ad in the Rutland Herald. Kelly did speak to a couple other people, but no one provided a proposal. Both of us recommend going with Same Sun. We applied to the state for a bid waiver since this did fall above the state bid law. We did receive a waiver from the state approving us to move forward with Same Sun at the $57,500.
Sorry about that.
So I recommend we move forward with it. My recommendation would be to use capital improvement funds. We have approximately $97,000 in capital improvement funds. And along with that, I would also recommend that we put an item on the ballot in March to replace all or some or even more of those capital improvement funds with last year's surplus, so that we have those funds going forward for other projects. But we can talk about that piece more during budgeting season.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Louis? Do I have any motions?
I make a motion that we spend the $57,000 for Same Sun to make the repairs to the solar units at school.
Okay. Okay, hearing a motion, do I have any discussion at this point? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Louis.
Okay, so I will notify Kelly and we can get this project started as soon as possible.
Okay. The only other item I have is really quick. I know you've all seen the emails that went out regarding the fall opening. The Gerksu board last night approved and made a motion that the superintendent will be our person. We have to go ahead and make sure that we have him or have someone in charge, whether it be us or superintendent. Last year, we made a motion that the Rutland Town Board would like to reaffirm or affirm that and delegate all the related COVID matters to the superintendent. This year, we need to do it again. The motion would basically read, consistent with actions taken by the Rutland Town School Board during 2021 school year, the Rutland Town School Board would like to reaffirm that they are delegating all COVID-19 related matters to the superintendent for the 21-22 school year. Can I have a motion on that? And then we can open it for discussion.
I'll make a motion that Rutland Town School delegates all COVID-19 matters to the superintendent.
Okay. Motion made. Do I have any discussion on this?
May I ask, and I've been actually thinking about this motion since last night when we were on the GRCSU. If we have a lot of parents that come up to us and are upset with, what's going on, what do we do at that point? Because we are still the ones that are responsible, right? Ultimately.
Through the superintendent, yes, but the Gerksu board also, I mean, it is a union-wide motion and decision. And all the other boards have also made the same motion that the superintendent be in charge. We only had one abstention last night, or one that was a negative. So as far as the supervisory union goes, their board, whatever, Chris is the delegated person. He has been, Chris, I don't know if you want to talk. Basically the same thing. We've been going through the CDC, Board of Education, pediatricians, and we're going to be monitoring it on a weekly or semi-weekly basis, so it could change. We didn't want to make a flat motion that masks would be worn for the school year until further notice. This gives Chris a lot more leeway to participate as far as the governor and CDC, everything that they come up with. Chris?
So, and Tina, I understand what you're saying. I think it's, I think one of the concerns that people have always had is, but for the past 17 months or since this pandemic started, we really have been following the AOA Department of Health's guidance and recommendations. We have not deviated from that whatsoever. So really that's where where we're being informed. So we don't. I don't sit back. I don't claim to be a health expert. I know that people like to sit, look at the data, look at this. That I understand. I'm looking at the same data a lot of other people do, but from a personal perspective, I'm not, going rogue or going off. Like I said, we are following the Department of Health and the experts, Commissioner Levine, and we are looking at what the CDC is saying, as well as the Vermont Association of Pediatric Association. So we are taking a lot of guidance in as well. And I do think as we continue to navigate through this, as we did last year, we still involve boards in discussion. We still, it's not as if just, last year I was, making these decisions and that was it. I mean, a lot of times there were recommendations. We would discuss at local levels. We would discuss with, board chairs about certain things that come on. But it's a very fluid situation. I think that's one of the things that's unique is like last year, and I think Billy can attest to this working in school as well, but we received a strong and healthy start memo, and that basically was our guidance for the better part of half the year. And so that kind of dictated where we were at, and I think we didn't really deviate from there. This year, it's a much more fluid situation, so we are operating on a series of memos that could come on, say, a Wednesday afternoon, like at 3 o'clock, or if Friday at 5 p.m., which will impact what happens on Monday. So, like I said, I've said other boards, if the board wants to take control over all COVID-19 mitigation measures, what happens then on Friday when we get the memo, then the board has to try to convene, make decisions, and get things ready to go by the following Monday. So there is that sense of fluidity there, but like I said, I don't operate in a vacuum. Like I said, I involve a lot of people in decision-making process. We have an admin team, we have boards, we have the school nurses, we have regional superintendents, we have the state superintendents, we have the Department of Health, Commissioner Levine. So there are a lot of people who are a part of this process, and really, that recommendation just stems from all that. So,
does that help you at all, Tina?
Well, I honestly have felt like Chris and Lisa have done a great job, and I'm not trying to make it sound like they haven't. I guess just the wording of it. I feel like, what is the recourse if the board disagrees, or if we do have a large pocket of parents or families that come out and say we're not happy? Then what? Like, what do we do at that point? Do we hold a special meeting, or do we make a motion?
I think bottom line is, no matter what we do, we're always going to have parents who are unhappy. I think, and I think that's so. Part of my job is I understand that I'm not going to make everyone happy. I think we have to, decisions are based on what's best for our learners, and somebody's going to disagree with that. I think masks is a very polarizing, impact. Like, I've had people on all sides of the spectrum say follow the science. I've had people who, some of the emails and voicemails I received from people who feel strongly one way or another, and they all saying the same thing: follow the science. You're not following the data. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? It's a lose-lose situation. And so, but as I've said all along, we have not deviated from what the Department of Health has said. And I think it's where, but there was a lot of times there are recommendations. So as we move forward through this, just because if I have authority, it still does not mean that boards don't have input, or like I said, I recommend to the boards sort of what we are looking to do. But you do understand, when we make one pocket of parents happy, we're upsetting another pocket of parents, and that's just the reality of this, particularly with mask guidance. Because if a board would sit there and say, "Hey, we're making masks optional," we make a percent of our population happy, and then we'd upset another percent of our population. So it really is a lose-lose. But as I said before, we are going back on, as we've done since the start. My recommendation has been is just following the guidance that the AOE Department of Health has put in front of us, and has gotten us to this point.
Okay, not only that, but you have to remember that, like last year, Chris and, all of us were working on the premise of keeping the school and employees, students healthy and as safe as possible. We would be going against the curve at this point if we said, well, we'll leave it up to you if they want to wear them or not. Not only that, but Rutland Town would be going against the AOE, against the Vermont Health, by saying that. And then if something should happen, we're out there on our own. The liability would be totally on us. We would get no support whatsoever. For anything. I mean, we're keeping up on it. Your 3 board chairs and Chris have been meeting every week, every other week on the updates. And of course, if something should change drastically, all the boards would be informed. Probably the easiest way we'll do that would be to have a special GERCSU meeting, so that everybody is involved. So right now we're just doing whatever because we have to keep, our students and staff safe, healthy. And we haven't gotten all the answers from the state yet on how to decide what an 80% looks like in our school of the eligible. We're in a unique kind of situation where our 7th and 8th graders, who are the majority of those that are qualify or eligible for the vaccinations, they're on a separate wing. And that's a discussion we can have at a later date. Say 90% of them are vaccinated. Do we allow them not to wear masks because they're on a separate area? If they go anywhere else or near where any other students are, they have to wear their masks. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tina.
I'm sorry, it was breaking up for a second. I don't really have a problem if Chris is following the AOE guidance whatsoever. But I guess what part of my problem is right now it states that the students, if they're at a school that has kids younger than 12, that the students, staff, and teachers should be wearing masks regardless.
Right.
So I don't know, why there would be a special discussion necessarily. And secondly, if we're giving all of this control to Chris and Lisa, then why would we be having this discussion? Like, that's what my point is. We're delegating all of that to Chris and Lisa, and we don't have the power at that point if we're delegating all that.
Well, we could always take the power back if the board as a whole or majority think we should. But where we get involved, once we hand it over, Chris and Lisa both, but Chris primarily has always kept all of us up to date through emails, the parents through letters to home on what's happening, what's new or not new. And so it's more of a discussion where, right now we need to discuss it and we need to make a motion in order to, in writing, give it to the leeway to Chris to handle it all. And that's the recommendation by not only our board attorney, but by the state themselves. We have someone that is in control and monitoring. And I think board members really don't have the links that he does. They are just so entwined with what's going on and getting between the superintendents association and the rest, they know what's going on. They know what's going on in the state, throughout the other schools. It's just a better cause to have him in control than individual boards, because you're talking 7 different boards, and it's just easier if the SU is all on board the same way and we proceed like we did last year. But it's up for discussion. Chris just gives us basically updates. If this passes, he would just be giving us updates, not necessarily discussions or needing our approval for anything. But if the board decides that they don't like the way it's going, we can discuss it. And then again, like I said, we would be 1 out of 7 schools going on our own.
I would gladly take a break from the voicemails and emails if you want to take them for a couple of days.
So I personally have not heard anybody say anything about my kid doesn't need to wear a mask. I hope I don't ever hear that. But I think what we all kind of need to be together on is what we say to the public. So is there a one-liner? I see people all the time, and I'm sure all the other board members do. And it was like, well, you're supposed to be in charge up there. I hear that, but it's like, so what is the one-liner that we can say to parents so that we're all consistent? We say, just call the superintendent. That would be a flood of things to him. So what I guess that's what I'm asking, a little bit of guidance on what we need to say to parents if we come across somebody that is not on board with being safe.
Yeah, I've heard parents from both sides. So I understand the argument that's out there. We have to, in order to keep our little ones safe, which is the majority of our school, we have to mandate masks. Now, Chris will tell you, Tina, I am not happy with the way the state's doing it, but we have to follow by their rules. I mean, why does everybody have to have masks inside the schools, but when they're outside, they don't have to social distance and they don't have to have masks? So that to me is just ludicrous. But by saying if someone comes up and approaches you, you can just say that we're following the AOE, we're following the state health department. Chris is our superintendent, is in charge of making the decisions for our supervisory union. You will find, actually, if you look into it, school boards have very little power over anything. The legislature has made pretty much the superintendent the be-all, end-all of school boards. We've always been lucky because usually our superintendent will at least take our advisement on how we feel or what we do. But you just have to throw it back where it belongs. It's on the state, it's on the, and on Chris. Chris is going to make the ultimate decisions. We will know, and the parents will know. You can throw it back on them. I'm sure they're getting these emails, and so they're up to date as much as possible. We are 5 days in school. We have no hybrid out of school options this year. So either you're homeschooling or you're sending your kids to school. Anybody visiting the school must be masked. Doesn't matter if they're vaccinated or not. We have not decided to close the school off like we did last year. But, we can't be the policeman and say, well, show me your vaccination card. So, and we all know that even if you are vaccinated, you can still get it, and you most certainly are a carrier. So those instances have to be taken for granted. I know there's quite a few people out there that are saying, I'm vaccinated, I don't have to do anything, but they do. Does that answer at all, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay. Tina?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Billy, did you have anything?
No.
That's pretty succinct. Okay, I have a motion on the floor to, for Chris to be our point person as far as making all COVID decisions for our school. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Chris, is there anything else? We don't need executive session, I don't believe.
No.
Okay. Sarah, you did want to, just a minute. Go ahead, Tina.
I forgot to remind you, Lynette, about that meeting in September that moved. You had told me that you were going to get another date from the legislative update or something like that.
Or you mean on our, our board retreat on Susan Holson?
Yes.
September.
You said the date moved.
28th, I do believe.
Right, September 28th. And we'll meet, that's the one that Chris had said he's going to bring in pizza for, at 5:00 on the 28th of September.
How long is that one?
Chris, how long have they?
Probably 2 hours, what Susan's going to need, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for reminding me, Tina. And Sarah, you wanted a minute to say something?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I just, there's been a lot of parents that have been contacting me, which is great. I appreciate it. Any questions, if board members, Jeff, you were asking if they please direct them right to me. I think just with the cases going up, there's a lot of concerns. So I just want parents to know that I'm doing my best to get back to them as soon as possible. Typically, I say 24 hours, just with the number of phone calls that have been coming in. I have not been able to to reach everybody within 24 hours. So please be patient. I'm getting back to everybody just as soon as I can. Just a couple of other common questions that have come up. A lot of the questions around mask wearing, everybody will be wearing masks for the first 10 days of school, and we'll just leave it at that. And then we'll regroup after 10 days. There's been a lot of questions around that. The other questions have been around lunch and recess. So just to ease some people's minds, our cafeteria is not as full as in previous years prior to COVID. I have 2 classes, just 2 classes. It used to be sometimes 3 to 4 within the cafeteria. So there are 2 classes at a time, meaning 2 grades, pardon me, at a time in the cafeteria. We will do our best to social distance. We will be doing hand sanitizer upon entering the building. We will be cleaning surfaces. Ed music guidelines, we will be following the spring band and music guidelines because there hasn't really been any clarity around that this fall. So I just wanted parents to know that those have been a lot of common questions.
Okay.
And lastly, unfortunately, due to the staffing crisis, I would say, we are still actively looking for a long-term sub special education teacher, a full-time special education teacher, a paraeducator, and a building-based substitute. So if anybody out there is interested in those positions, please feel free to give me a call. Those positions are posted on SchoolSpring. We are still actively and aggressively trying to staff our tapestry program. Unfortunately, right now, that we will not be able to open up our after-school tapestry program because we do not have the staff for it. We need at least 2 more staff members in order to open that up. So we're doing all that we can, but that's just an update on staffing.
Anyone have any questions for Sarah? Okay. And that is all we have for tonight. I would look for a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Bye.
You guys have a good what's left of the summer.